一、二、三。
Dun, dun,
Before we start, I just wanted to say, go check out Skritter.com and sign up for a free account and check out all we have to offer. It really is one of the best resources for studying Chinese and Japanese characters.
I paid her to say that.
That's right, that's exactly what he did.
Oh, Skritter is good for studying Chinese. Yes, yes.
Right, now let's get to business. Jake, how did this lesson come about?
I might have a problem. I like Star Wars a lot.
Is this like a confession to
Yes.
our users?
Well, I think if you've watched any of the videos where it's like Jake's Corner or whatever, any video that I am in, like in the background, you will probably see a lot of sci-fi stuff.
So this is when you like definitely commission a lot of company resources for Ma Laoshi to research.
Yeah.
Chinese terms.
Yeah. It's like, Ma Laoshi, how do we talk about like everything in like episode 1 to episode 8 and Rogue One, Han Solo, like all these spin-off stories, right? How do you talk about them? And she's like, I don't know, Jake, I have to do a lot of research. And it's like, can you do that for us? Because I really want this list.
Right, guys, if you want to know how to talk about Star Wars in Chinese, I will guarantee we have the most extensive, detailed list on the internet. So go check them out. Now, first things first, how do we talk about Star Wars in Chinese?
There are two ways to say it, 星际大战 or 星球大战. So 星际大战 is mostly used in Taiwan. It means interplanet war. Whereas in China, 星球大战 is more of a direct translation of planet war.
So if I don't remember, right, like, oh, the difference, does it matter? I mean, if I go up to someone and I'm like, 星际大战, 星球大战, like, they're gonna know that I'm talking about Star Wars, right?
Yes, exactly.
And you can always go, ba, ba.
No, so like with this list, you know, you have to choose, there's only so much I mean, all the research and everything, like we have to pick some things. So some of the stuff is probably like more heavily used in Taiwan or more heavily used somewhere else. I mean, some of the stuff like we pulled from some novels that I had for like translations.
Right, exactly.
So I think it is important to note that there are some differences between mainland China and Taiwan on these things, but like, if you're talking to someone who likes this stuff, they're gonna get it, right?
Now, from what I know about Star Wars is that there are many episodes. And how do we deal with that, Ma Laoshi?
For episode 1 to 8, we would say 星际大战首部曲. That's episode 1. And starting from the second to all the way to 8, you would just do 二部曲, 三部曲, blah 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 到八部曲.
What are your favorites, Jake?
四部曲, 五部曲, 六部曲.
四五六.
四五六. And I would say
like,
those are the most
you know,
classic.
the originals, you know?
Yeah.
Before they even had 4, 5, 6, right? They didn't need those. It was just like A New Hope. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. Now we just have to keep count.
Old school. I mean, the new stuff is great, right? But like, classics.
And I would argue that as someone that wasn't that into Star Wars as a kid, I think the new films for me are very, very enjoyable. So I think this is a good point to talk maybe about our favorite characters. So I won't ask Jake first. Let's start with Ma Laoshi. 你最喜欢的星际大战角色或角色是谁？
我最喜欢, I think when I was in middle school, I had a huge crush on Anakin Skywalker.
马老师的 Anakin K-I-S-S-I-N-G
And Ma Laoshi, how do you say Anakin Skywalker in Chinese?
安纳金天行者.
啊，好酷哦！
很酷吧？
天行者太太。
太好了。
Just to give another example of transliteration, let's say Chewbacca. How would you say that?
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
I actually think Anakin Skywalker or the Skywalkers are one of the few characters that are translated into 天行者, which is a translation of the meaning.
对.
Yeah.
对.
Everyone else, I would say, falls more in the line of transliteration.
Exactly.
How about Princess Leia?
Princess 公主，所以丽雅公主。
Okay,
丽
that's
雅
pretty.
公主。
I think we're forgetting a major hottie in this whole thing. Let's try the name.
Harrison Ford?
Harrison Ford. 他叫什么名字？
他不是就索罗吗？
索罗 Yeah.
对对对，这已经在录了。
I mean, he's a hottie, but he's also like a scruffy-looking nerf herder, right?
Scruffy-looking nerf herder.
I feel like we've covered a lot of good guys.
I bet you have.
How do we say good guys? Actually, out of interest, like good characters. Like
好人
好人吗？
versus 坏人。
Oh, and Star Wars has some classic 坏人.
Yeah. I mean, we have to.
Jesus, Castilla Stag.
马老师，我是你的爸爸。
am your father.
他叫黑武士。
Oh,
黑武士.
the Black Knight, the Dark Knight. And where does he live? He lives somewhere special? The Death Star? Is that right? Are you gonna hit me? Is this our professional relationship over?
Lives on the deaths? I mean, you know,
Place of work? Like that's where he goes to work,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, right. If he had to write down his like occupational, there's two places. He's on the Executor and also the Death Star. So how do you say Death Star in Chinese?
死星。
So literally, Death Star. 死星.
And I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, a big theme throughout the Star Wars universe is whether you pick the dark side or the bright side.
Light side.
Light
Light
side?
and dark, yeah.
Do we know how to say that?
Dark side 黑暗面。
黑暗面.
The light side 光明面。
Jake, as a kid growing up watching the Star Wars films, you must have wished that you had some of those abilities.
Of course.
You don't need to see his identification.
Which ones are like the
I
top
still
ones?
wish I had.
You're just like waiting for the remote, just like, you know?
Yeah. And that's what you want. I mean, you want the ability to force push and pull and open doors and how could you not at least think about a couple?
So we cannot do a Star Wars episode and not learn how to say, first of all, the Force.
原力。
原力.
So literally original power, kind of like the concept of the Force. Speaking of the Force, there is an immortal phrase that non-Star Wars fans would have heard of also, and that is,
No, Mrs. Stay. Mrs. Kojaja Binks.
May the Force be with you. How do we say that?
愿原力与你同在。
Okay.
愿
力与你同在. May the Force be with you.
对。
What I think is really cool about Star Wars is all the weapons, all the vehicles. So I think we have to definitely talk about the weapons, specifically. That's me making a lightsaber noise. Okay, that's a much better lightsaber.
Way better.
I practice a lot, you know.
See,
just-
he's a professional. Professional fan.
马老师到底要怎么说 lightsaber?
光剑。
So literally, light sword. I would love a little like mini lightsaber for like my kitchen, right? Because you could be like any kind of.
that would cut through everything.
Zoom, zoom.
But I think like you could still have
Don't
mistakes.
need to give me a big one.
Just a smaller.
So the list, obviously, we cover Guangjian lightsaber, but we also have, like, when you go in, if you check this out on Skritter, super laser, ion cannon for those episode 5 fans, bowcaster.
对
Yeah,
Cool.
we've got some nice stuff in there.
check it out.
It's funny. I want to like the word for like nerdy or geeky is 书呆子 in Chinese, but I just don't think it covers because this is like 我们没有在看书. Like I don't know what you call like comic book or film.
漫画呆子。
漫画呆子。
I would
星
just think
际
like,
大战呆子。
还有宅男。可以
Yeah, 宅男。
Yeah.
宅男。
yeah, 就是我.
星际大战宅男.
Yeah.
Maria, are there any cool things that you would like from, like if you were to buy a car or spaceship from Star Wars, what would you have? Like
Oh, I want a robot. I want 奥图。
Oh yeah, like R2D2.
我的小秘书。
All right.
Cute. But
Yeah,
then
you
would
want an astromech.
Yes.
So the interesting thing, can I just really quick, like when we were doing research for this, actually Maria was like, Jake, I can't find R2D2 and 3PO and so I had to I brought out a book that I had that I bought from Taiwan and we looked in there. And so the translation, 奥图, it's R2, but it's like, again, this transliteration and 3PO, but in the list, you're not gonna find BB-8 because there isn't any. So in even if you're talking about it, it's like BB ba, like, and you know, but we can't do that in.
好奇怪哦 ，BB 8。
Yeah, you can't do it. So I think just like calling it BB-8, but some things are omitted just because simply it can be really hard to translate things.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of vehicles, you know, that's another we ran into. Like the Rebel Alliance has like the X-wing, the A-wing, the Y-wing, the B-wing.
Right.
And how did you translate those in the list?
So Skritter doesn't allow X, Y, B, stuff like that. So you would just say X-E 战机, Y-E 战机, or B-E 战机,
Yeah.
E meaning the wing.
E 四声对吗？
四声
E
Jake，哪一台或是哪一个战机是可以把那个R2D2 放进去的？
哦，好像都可以吧。
都可以。
X
R2D2 那么好用。
Very compatible.
it's okay. R2 goes in Red 5, which is Luke's X-wing. Okay, so that would be the XE
战机
Zhanji, right? But the astromech I think can go inside of any one of those because the astromech.
There you go, guys. You heard it here first. The astromech is very compatible with any plane.
It allows the ships to jump into hyperspace. That's like one of the things that they do because the TIE fighter, TIE Interceptor, TIE Bomber, these like Imperial crafts, which are also on the list by the way, they are short-range fighters and they cannot jump into hyperspace.
Oh, so that's a difference, huh?
One of the many.
I love how you're like genuine. You're like, understood. Next time.
I'll
This is
be
gonna
here.
be great patter at the bar next time. Did you know that the difference between?
Yep, that's how I sound.
After evaluating millions of pieces of data in the blink of an eye,
We're getting carried away, guys.
Yeah, we missed some crucial stuff.
Yes, so I think this is our last chance for maybe us to kind of quickly share some really interesting vocabulary that we came across in the list. So number 1.
Jedi.
Jedi 绝地武士
That's cool.
绝地武
sounds
士
so cool,
And that's the
right?
name of one of the films, right? 是吗？
The
好像
Last
最近
Jedi
的
最后的绝地武士吗？
对，
真的吗？
就是最后的绝地武士。
最后的绝地武士。Anything else?
I feel like we have to be able to talk about the guys in white who are really bad at shooting things. Stormtroopers.
Yeah, what is like stormtroopers?
Hey, you can't.
Always miss the
dude,
target.
they
It's the
can't.
mask. It's very hot in there.
They're shooting at heroes the entire time. They gotta miss. How do you say stormtrooper?
帝国风暴兵
帝国. So like the Republic, the,
the
Empire.
Empire
帝国 Jake, I don't think we can be friends after this. 帝国风暴兵. 风暴 is storm. 兵 is
，soldiers。
风暴兵 Okay.
Yep.
帝国风暴兵。
害我好想吃刨冰哦。You will subscribe. This is your favorite Chinese learning and Japanese learning channel. And at this point we say 再见.
And may the force be with you.
May the force be with you. So let's say that one more time together.
愿原力与你同在。
Bye guys!
Bye bye.
Oh, Skritter is good for studying Chinese. Yes, yes.
And wait, what should I do with my hands?
Can we cut? Will my hands look this small on the screen?
Your hands look fine. Put them down.